What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Timeless Season 1, Episode 5, The Alamo. So just based off of that title, you can probably guess this was a pretty intense episode. For those of you who don't know what The Alamo is, which honestly I knew what it was, but I didn't really know details about it, go ahead and look it up because it's really a powerful story, and there's a reason that we say remember the Alamo. It's a story that's not talked about enough, in my opinion. So go ahead and look that up, read about it, because this episode does it justice. The soldiers clearly up against it, and it looks like what Flynn was trying to do in this episode was make it to where nobody remembers the Alamo. Make it to where, because the Alamo is what causes our armies to sort of, well, not our armies, but back in the day, it caused America to sort of rise up and take back, pretty much take back Texas. And that's what started it. You know, this attack on the Alamo, the words written that were taken out, just the sheer bloodshed of all of this is what caused it. Well, Flynn, I think what he was trying to do is cause the attack to happen early, kill the guy that was going to send out the letter, so that way it's just, oh, we lost that base and that's it. And nobody really talks about it. Well, what ends up happening actually, I think, goes against his plans, because what the guy was going to do was just kill everybody, even the women and children, which I think actually would have caused people to talk about it still. So it's interesting to see that Flynn sets this all in motion, but ultimately he kind of failed in his goal, because it was not just, oh, you know, kill everybody, leave the women and children alive, nobody will talk about it. No, he was going to kill everybody and still start a revolution anyway. So it's kind of funny to see that his plan backfired. And I really do, it's almost like they kept the timeline intact because the women and children still made it out, and the boy that delivered the message still made it out too to deliver the message. So they kept the timeline intact. But I'm curious kind of to see what would have happened to the timeline if the man had attacked I think his name was Santa Ana. If he had attacked the base, killed everybody, I'm curious to see if things still would have stayed the same as far as history in general, because that attack on the Alamo still would have been enough to cause people to rise up and revolution, something like that, take back Texas. So just, I don't know, it was kind of an interesting little tidbit thrown in there that Flynn's plans didn't go exactly how he wanted them to. That was interesting. As far as the characters in this episode, we have a lot of interesting developments going on. First of all, at the beginning, we see Rufus clearly freaked out because of what happened with Rittenhouse in the last episode. Connor Mason just kind of seems nonchalant about it, just like, so they got to you too. Now you know why I can't do. And Rufus is just like, why are you acting like this? So it was interesting to see that, and then on top of that, he gets to meet Davy Crockett, who tells all of these stories and acts like they're no big deal. And it was just like, how do you just act so calm about all of this? So I never actually fought a bear. I never actually wrestled a bear. I shot him with my gun, told everybody I wrestled a bear, because that's what everybody wants to see. And so I think that's going to help Rufus as far as the Rittenhouse stuff, because I think he's going to have this idea in mind that it's obviously a scary situation that they're forcing him to do this and threatening his family, but I think he's going to be able to convince himself to do it because he's going to have this mindset of, it has to be done. I don't want to do it, it's scary to think about, but I'm going to do it because for now I'm in a situation where it has to happen. And I think this is going to calm him down a little bit with that mindset that Davy Crockett sort of gave to him. Lucy has some issues with her mom. We see that her mom wants to know what's going on, and Lucy obviously can't tell her. And Lucy wants to know about her father, and her mom won't tell her that. So at the end of the episode, we see her mom finally explain what happened with her dad, and then give her the name of her father, which we don't get to see. If it ends up being Garcia Flynn, it's just way too obvious for me. Or maybe Garcia Flynn's father. What if they're actually half brother and sister? That'd be an interesting twist. I don't know. I'm curious to see who it is. I'm curious to see if he's going to connect to anybody we already know, or if he's just going to be some random guy that's going to get introduced into the show. I feel like there's going to be some sort of connection though there. I don't know. I just feel like that's got to be a connection. And then the final one is, of course, Wyatt and his. They're planning on firing him because he hasn't been able to kill Flynn. Well, this episode, I didn't know how to feel about it because from the previews of it, it kind of made it seem like maybe Wyatt was going to stay behind and go down with the Alamo. So I was really worried going into the final moments. I'm just like, please, Wyatt, don't go, because I knew that there was probably going to be a chance that he would tell Lucy and Rufus about it. I knew there was going to be a chance that Lucy and Rufus would be like, no, he's not leaving. If he leaves, we leave. And that whole final scene I kind of figured was going to happen. But then the possibilities with the Alamo being a part of it, it kind of made me get a little nervous. Like, what if they actually decide to make him stay at the Alamo with everybody? What if they actually decide to do that? I don't know, because this show is just starting out. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. I don't know. It seems like it would be a little too dark for the show to kill off a character like Wyatt so soon. But I don't know that for sure because we're 5 episodes in. So it could happen, theoretically, but they don't go that route. So obviously it's not going to go that dark on us. But at the same time, it is a very intense moment where he wants to stay behind. We get to hear a story about a similar situation where he was in a group of people. They all stayed behind and sacrificed themselves so that he could get out and deliver information. So it is kind of a sad story to hear, and it gives him a bit more depth. And I love the fact that we're learning more and more about some of these characters and just what they've had to go through in the past. And so it gives so much more depth to Wyatt's character, and I'm excited to see where else they're going to go with him. But after that, of course, like I said, we get that story of Lucy and Rufus are both like, if he leaves, we leave. And at first I was just like, well, they could replace you too, couldn't they? And then the lady chimes in, the CIA lady, and she's like, Rufus is the only one who can pilot this thing. I'm like, oh, well, that's a loophole you can't get through. That you can't replace Rufus. That means you have to keep Wyatt on. So sure enough, they're just like, sure, that I guess that leaves us no choice. So that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. And a lot of it is really good. A lot of it explains a lot. This episode explains quite a bit about each of these characters. We get to see more development with Wyatt, with Rufus, and even with Lucy going through what she's going through with her mother. So where does this episode go off a little bit? Because this is a really good episode, but it's not perfect. So what are the problems with this show so far? Well, I feel like a lot of what they are going through in the past, it's represented very well. I think historically it seems accurate. Historically, with the clothing, the way they talk, it all feels very real. It feels like they are really there. However, it seems a bit too easy at times for them to explain stuff away. With Flynn, with our team, it doesn't matter who is going back in time. All of them, the bad guys and the good guys, it feels way too easy for them to just plop themselves into history and nobody asks questions. If they do, they've got some sort of answer that doesn't sound very convincing, but the person just sort of accepts it and goes on with it. Some of it has been handled fairly well. Sometimes, like there was the one episode where they ended up in jail because they didn't have the correct answers. So I understand that sometimes it's not working, sometimes it does. It doesn't always have to be, oh, it's really difficult to fit in. But I just feel like if these soldiers and these 2 guys and this 1 woman pops up in the Alamo and nobody knows who they are, you would think that somebody would be asking some more questions, not just, who are you guys? It was so easy to explain, oh, we we're Lucy, Wyatt, and Rufus, and we came from so and so place. We came from out east. Oh, okay, I'm from out east. Do you know this person? This person? Yes. You know, asking questions to sort of confirm who they are, because the guy just asks one question about him, they answer, and he's completely fine with it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a gripe that only I have, but it is something that's bothered me over the past couple episodes. It was okay at first because I was just getting into the whole time travel thing, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, I'm just like, this is way too easy for them to just pop in and nobody asks questions. Nobody tries to get information about them. So, I don't know. It's a small gripe. It's not something that's ruining the show for me by any means. I still really enjoy where they're going with this so far. They've got a good story going on. I love the fact that Flynn, he's not always directly involved with them. For most of the episodes so far, we've seen them come face to face with them. We've seen interaction. This time it was just he snuck in, did what he needed to do, and got out. And that's it. So I love the fact that it's not always he is got this whole big plan where he has to be directly involved. This one he just convinced the guy, Santa Anna, he convinced him to attack early. He goes in, shoots the guy that writes the letter that sparks the revolution, and then that's it. He's done. And then, of course, whenever he finds out that Santa Anna is giving no quarter and killing women and children, that's when he tries to rectify the solution. But, of course, that doesn't work out for him either. So, I really enjoy Flynn. He's a good villain. I enjoy the characters and what they're doing with them. The fact that they're developing them really well. It's a good show, and I'm excited to see where they're going with it. So, next week is the Nixon Watergate stuff. That looks exciting. What can I say? Scandal in the U.S. is kind of a part of our history. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with some of those scandals. Obviously, Nixon is not the only scandal we have, so maybe they'll go into some other ones. Maybe they'll touch on that a bit more, but we'll see what's going to happen. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What you like and dislike about this episode. Let me know. We can talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Timeless reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.